Good morning to the Florida Keys History and Discovery Center Facebook followers. I'm Erin Muir, Membership and Events Manager here at the Keys History and Discovery Center, and I am filling in for our curator, Brad Bertelli, in today's Discover History segment. Now, I don't have nearly the breadth of knowledge of Florida Keys history as our curator, Brad Bertelli, does, so I've selected a topic that's personally close to my heart. We are going to be discussing Captain Rodney Albury. Captain Albury is featured here in our Legends of the Line exhibit, and he also happens to be my great-grandfather, so I know a little bit about him. So Captain Albury, his family, his roots go very far back here in the Tavernier area. His family immigrated from the Bahamas and actually settled in Tavernier in 1868, and they settled the south end of the island of Key Largo. At the time, it wasn't called Tavernier, but they homesteaded 144 acres. So by the time Captain Albury was born in 1890, the Upper Keys were still very primitive. However, in contrast, Key West was actually the most populated city in the state of Florida. So it was common practice for these old Upper Keys conch families to maintain a family home in Key West. Oftentimes, they had extended family that lived down there full time. So the homes that they kept, either their own home or a family home, it was common practice for women when expecting a baby to actually travel to Key West to deliver their baby. So Captain Rodney Albury was born in Key West in 1890. Of course, coming back up to the Upper Keys, at the time his family was predominantly farming, subsistence farming, and he married for the first time to Camille Johnson of the Johnson family of Planter, which was the community center on the south end of Key Largo in that time. And this is prior to the advent of Flagler's Railroad coming through the Upper Keys. So unfortunately, his first wife passed away quite young. She took a bad patent medicine that unfortunately caused her demise. So Captain Albury found himself marrying again in 1920. His second wife, Myrtle Valeria Roberts of Key West, was actually a friend of his late first wife. And so by the time Rodney and Myrtle married in 1920, Rodney was almost 30 years old and had quite the successful farming practice of his own. In 1920, he sent 385 crates of limes and tomatoes to northern markets. And my family knows this because my great-grandfather kept log books, and these are in my personal family collection. I brought some of them in to show you. So this one starts in 1917, and he tracked everything from addresses to things he purchased, to hours he worked, to crates of produce that he was shipping north. And so we have a series of these log books that start in 1917 and continue on into the 1950s, actually. So in 1923, the course of Captain Rodney Albury's life changed drastically when a Captain Morris came into the Tavernier post office. And he was the captain of a yacht of a northern gentleman who was spending some time fishing off the Florida Keys in the winter. And Captain Morris said he came in because his client was looking for a fishing guide. And so the postmaster at the time, who was a relative of Captain Albury, said, well, the person that, I've got someone who knows a whole lot about the waters and knows where to find the fish. He's not outfitted for charter fishing, which they called party fishing back then. But he connected with Captain Morris, and Captain Albury's very first fishing client happened to be Franklin D. Roosevelt, which is interesting because in one of his logbooks here, where he kept track of his clients that he communicated with, It says, Mr. Franklin D. Roosevelt, 55 Liberty Street, New York City. And this is from a log dated January 9th, 1924. So, Captain Rodney started fishing with FDR. Stories of their trip are also documented in the logbook of FDR's yacht, the Lirocco. And my great-grandfather fished with FDR for several seasons in the early 1920s. In fact, in one instance, there's a great story that says, late in the season of 1925, the Lirocco, which was FDR's yacht, blew an engine near Shark River, and FDR sent a note via a passing small boat that said, Captain Albury, come save all of our lives. So my great-grandfather actually broke his rule. He never worked on Sundays, but this note from FDR came in on a Sunday, and he set out to rescue FDR and tow the Lirocco back in to where it could get service. Over the course of Captain Albury's career, he fished prize fighters, governors, other politicians, baseball heroes, but FDR was definitely the one client that loomed largest in his memory. And the time he rescued FDR was actually one of the last times he saw him. When FDR returned the following season, they had planned to fish in Captain Albury's new boat that he was having built. But my great uncle, who was a young boy at the time, was actually sick with rickets. And my great grandfather had to take him to Miami for treatment. And so he missed that season fishing with FDR. And Captain Albury's brother fished FDR that season. So I have a couple of other tidbits. It's interesting to see he kept track of what every party that he fished and what he charged. So he started out charging $20 for a day of fishing. It went up to $25 once the overseas highway opened up and in 1928 and more visitors started coming to the area. During the Great Depression, he dropped it back down to $20, but it creeped up over time and got to 35 and 40, but it's still quite a deal for a full day of fishing. It included everything, gas, ice, tackle, the whole 9 yards. Another interesting tidbit here, let's see. So here we dug into family photos here. I'm going to bring this nice and close. See those fishing friends there. This was actually taken March 1st, 1929. This is one of the earliest photos we have of his charter clients. I particularly like this one because these guys, those are quite the outfits to go fishing in there. And then my great-grandfather, another fun tidbit that I pulled out of one of his diaries. This is actually a contest entry blank for the 3rd annual Metropolitan Miami Fishing Tournament. This fishing tournament ran January 16th through April 17th, 1938. The contest entry blank is for a barracuda that has been submitted. It was caught on February 21st, 1938 in Tavernier, weighing in at 36 pounds. Caught on the Edromar, which was the name of my great-grandfather's boat. And there's a letter that accompanies it. And it's on the letterhead of the Pfluger Marine Museum. It says, Dear Captain Albury, per our telephone conversation of February 20th, I have entered your boat in the tournament and also entered the fish for Mr. Whistler. Enclosed herewith is a duplicate copy of the entry blank. In the future, if any of your customers have fish large enough to enter in the tournament, send them to me and I will take care of all the entry blanks. Also enclosed herewith is a check covering your commissions for the 3 fish brought in by Mr. S.A. Whistler as follows. A barracuda, the commission was $9. A grouper, the commission was $4. And a yellowtail, the commission was $2 for a $15 balance due. It says, thank you for your cooperation. I remain yours very truly, signed Al Pfluger. So Captain Albury fished late into his life. It was his passion. He ended up, one of his sons joined him fishing and served as his mate for many years. And so he actually fished from the Edromar until he was 83 years old. And at that time, both he and the Edromar retired from service. Now, I did ask my grandfather, and he said that the Edromar was sold to someone in Key West and went on to have a new life down there. We don't know what happened to the boat after that. But he has such an interesting history. Here he is. This was taken in 1970, and that's my great-grandfather there with his son, still fishing off of his dock in Tavernier. So it's been so much fun sharing some of these family memories here. You can come into the Discovery Center and learn more about some of the amazing captains that we feature in our Legends of the Line exhibit. We do have a full program schedule that we are in the heart of with our lecture series and our Curator Connections program. We have a lecture coming up tomorrow night, so please visit our website, keysdiscovery.com, to check out our schedule, sign up for our lecture, and then the first week of November, we have a Cocktails with the Curator with special guest, author Kathy Celestri. So I hope you all will tune in for some of our additional programs, and we will see you back here next week for our next Discover History segment. Thanks so much.